A report claims that Roberto De Zerbi could make a tactical change in midfield for the clash against Leeds at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Roberto De Zerbi maintains that Vicario remains Spurs' first-choice goalkeeper, even though he couldn't confirm if his Italian countryman would still be at the club next season. Kulusevski remains out, but De Zerbi states he could be returning soon to at least be around the squad for morale on match days. Could James Maddison finally make his return for Spurs against Leeds? And Premier League all-time top scorer Alan Shearer predicts that Spurs will survive the drop, and then it'll be West Ham that fall through the trapdoor into the Championship. Here are your daily Tottenham news headlines. Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name's Craig and here are your daily Tottenham news headlines where I'll be going through all the latest news, rumours and reports. If you're watching on YouTube and are not already as yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. Like, share and comment below. And if you're listening on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. And please make sure you turn on the notification bell so you get notified whenever we go live or upload a video to the channel. Okay, let's get into it. Pressure is mounting on Tottenham Hotspur boss Roberto De Zerbi as he weighs tactical changes ahead of a season-defining clash with Leeds United, according to a report from The Standard. After a crucial victory over Aston Villa, Roberto De Zerbi is said to be considering alterations to his midfield setup, aware that the approach which succeeded at Villa Park may not work against an aggressive and physical Leeds side. Central to Spurs' recent revival has been the midfield trio of Conor Gallagher, Rodrigo Bentancur and João Palhinha. Gallagher drove the team forward and scored from distance. Bentancur provided calmness in possession, while Palhinha protected the defence by dropping deep to cover attacking fullback Pedro Porro. However, De Zerbi reportedly fears that Spurs will face a very different tactical challenge against Leeds. Unlike Villa, Leeds are expected to sit deeper and force Tottenham to break them down at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The article questions whether Gallagher is naturally suited to the advanced creative role in De Zerbi's preferred 4-2-3-1 system, suggesting he is more effective attacking space rather than unlocking packed defences with intricate passing. Because of that, De Zerbi is said to be considering recalling Yves Bissouma, whose mobility and dynamism could provide greater attacking thrust than the more defensively minded Palhinha. There is also discussion over whether youngsters Lucas Bergvall and Archie Gray could return to the starting side. De Zerbi has largely trusted experienced players since taking charge amid Tottenham's relegation battle. Speaking in his press conference, the Italian stressed the importance of experience in high-pressure situations, explaining why players such as Bissouma, Bentancur and Palhinha have been preferred in recent weeks. He also praised Gray heavily, reportedly viewing the teenager as a future captain material, though he hinted that the unpredictability of youth may not suit the current survival fight. Despite planning tweaks, De Zerbi insisted there would not be wholesale tactical changes. He explained that overloading the players with instructions could drain energy and confidence at a critical point in the campaign. Instead, he plans only subtle adjustments in occupation of the spaces while maintaining the broader structure that recently earned positive results for Spurs. The article also highlights Leeds' strong form under Daniel Farke. De Zerbi reportedly described them as one of the division's best current sides after a run of 12 points from 6 matches. Leeds' physicality and direct style are viewed as particular threats for a Tottenham side that has struggled mentally and physically throughout much of the season. A major theme of the report is the atmosphere surrounding Tottenham's home matches. De Zerbi described the stadium as hot, recalling both his experience managing against Spurs with Brighton and his own early games in charge. The passionate support of 60,000 fans can quickly become hostile with performances deteriorating, with the stadium turning mutinous at times during this troubled campaign. Still, De Zerbi is attempting to channel that pressure positively. He wants supporters to push the players forward rather than increase anxiety, believing the atmosphere could inspire Spurs to a vital win. However, failure against Leeds would leave the Italian back to the drawing board once again as the relegation fight intensifies. The report ultimately portrays a Tottenham side showing signs of tactical identity and belief under De Zerbi, but still fragile, vulnerable and under immense pressure heading into one of the biggest matches of their season. Football.London report that Roberto De Zerbi has made it clear that Guillermo Vicario remains Tottenham's number one goalkeeper, but could not say whether he'll be at the club next season, and has provided an update on Dejan Kulusevski. Vicario is yet to return to training with the team, but De Zerbi has made it clear that when he does, the 29-year-old will retain his place. Vicario is still the best first-team goalkeeper of Tottenham, because what Vicario showed this season is enough to consider him as a top player for us. But we will have to consider the physical condition, the period, how many games he missed, and we will see when Vicario will be good, said the Spurs boss before lavishing praise on Kinski. Big character, big personality, great guy, great professional and a great goalkeeper. He's playing very well. He has to stay with the focus and don't take risks in any situation, but he's playing very well and he's very important for us. Vicario has been strongly linked, in fact, with a return to Italy and Inter Milan, with reports in his homeland claiming the goalkeeper's already agreed personal terms with the Serie A giants. While De Zerbi has made it clear that he 100% wants Tottenham to bring the on-loan João Palhinha back next season, he was unwilling to commit on Vicario's future at the club. I don't know. If you ask me if I've had any ideas about next season, my answer is no, said the head coach, for two reasons. One, I think I have no time to think about next season, and two, after 2 wins, if I lose time thinking about next season's squad, I'm being arrogant. You think after 2 wins, after a very tough period, you already consider yourself safe? No. One player that De Zerbi was able to give an update on was Dejan Kulusevski. The Tottenham boss is hopeful that the Swede will be back in the country after undergoing rehabilitation abroad and can join his teammates at the final match of the Premier League season. The 26-year-old is unlikely to play for Tottenham this season, but De Zerbi said that after a text exchange with the player, he could be returning soon to at least be around the squad for morale on match days like Davies and Maddison have done recently. When asked if he thought Kulusevski could still play at the World Cup next month, De Zerbi said, "I don't know the situation well. I hope so, but I don't know his injury and I can't say nothing more. For me, it's difficult to understand how he can play at the World Cup if he didn't play any games this season. But I texted him after the Villa game. He told me in the next week, I think he comes back, and I hope he can be available to stay with us in the last game because he's an amazing player." Another decision for De Zerbi on Monday lies in whether James Maddison finally gets his first minutes on the pitch since his ACL injury 9 months ago in pre-season. The England midfielder has been on the bench for the past 3 matches, but simply to be part of the squad and bring his experience. There is a feeling that the game against Leeds could be the one that brings the 29-year-old's return, and De Zerbi admits it's a tough decision. It's not so easy. Maddison has big experience. I think he knows better than anyone when is the right moment. We have to consider we are fighting for a big target, but I think he can be important for us, and for that I wanted him to be with the team for Brighton, Wolves and Villa, he said. Radu Dragusin played 45 minutes last year in a behind closed doors friendly before returning from his ACL injury, but De Zerbi said Maddison will not do the same. Now he stays with us until the end of the season. He is working very well, very hard and working with us. He reached the best condition to play, he said. So has Maddison told his coach that he is ready to play yet? No, not yet, but we have not spoken about his condition, just looking on the pitch and to hear about his experience, my experience and the experience of the medical staff. Every day we make a check, and this check is also with Maddison, explained De Zerbi. And Alan Shearer believes that Tottenham Hotspur have done enough to avoid relegation, while West Ham United are now staring into the abyss after a disastrous run of results, according to a report from Team Talk. The former England captain assessed the dramatic Premier League survival battle involving Spurs and West Ham, with the London rivals separated by just a single point heading into the final weeks of the campaign. Spurs' recent revival under De Zerbi has transformed the mood in North London, while West Ham's collapse has left them vulnerable to a shock drop into the Championship. Shearer pointed to Tottenham's crucial victory over Aston Villa as the turning point in the fight for survival. Speaking on the Rest is Football podcast, he suggested that the psychological impact of Spurs climbing out of the bottom three could prove decisive. He described it as a terrible weekend for West Ham, who not only suffered a heavy defeat themselves, but had to watch Tottenham produce one of their best performances of the season. The Newcastle legend highlighted the importance of Tottenham's clash with Leeds United, insisting the Yorkshire side could ultimately decide who survives because they still face both Spurs and West Ham. He argued that if Tottenham beat Leeds, they would almost certainly, in fact, secure safety, opening up a significant gap with only 2 matches remaining. By contrast, Shearer painted a bleak picture of West Ham's run-in after a loss to Arsenal and with fixtures against Newcastle United before a final day meeting with Leeds. He suggested points would be extremely difficult to come by. Shearer predicted the Hammers may only collect 3 more points from their final 2 matches, warning that it might not be enough to save them. Tottenham also has a superior goal difference, which could become critical if the battle goes down to the final day. Spurs currently hold a far healthier defensive record than West Ham, giving them another major advantage in the survival race. Recent results have only intensified the pressure on West Ham. Their controversial defeat to Arsenal, in which a late equaliser was ruled out by VAR, left them trapped in the relegation zone, while Tottenham prepare for a potentially season-defining fixture against Leeds. Under De Zerbi, however, belief has returned and Shearer now expects Spurs to survive, leaving West Ham facing the very real prospect of relegation instead. Okay, here's my thoughts on those stories today. Firstly, the thoughts of a tactical switch by De Zerbi. I probably don't see this happening against Leeds, to be honest with you. I think that midfield 3 will remain the same. In fact, I'd like it to. Paulinho and Bentancur, the talk of dropping Paulinho. How can you drop João Paulinho? I think he's been superb the last couple of games. But Paulinho, Bentancur and Gallagher, they work so well against Villa. But I do get it. This is going to be a totally different team we face in Leeds. They're likely to sit deeper. So is that going to be difficult for us to break down? Obviously, we all know in recent seasons and actually over time that Spurs have always struggled to break down teams that sit deep. So is there an argument for like a Bergvall to come in and perhaps instead of a Gallagher and perhaps play on the front foot a bit more? I don't think so. I think that he'll go with that midfield 3. But let's see. It would be lovely to get a couple of goals up early, wouldn't it? And just not have us on the edge of our seats for the whole game. But, you know, a win against Leeds on Monday evening is going to be huge for Spurs, going 4 points clear of West Ham with 2 games remaining. So it's another must-win game, isn't it? But this game is huge. De Zerbi talking about Vicario and Kulusevski there. Firstly, Vicario saying he's still the number 1. I'm still not sure Vicario is going to play again this season, you know. Kinski fully deserves to be between the sticks. It looks like, unless they buy a goalkeeper in the summer, if Vicario's off, which we think he is, could Kinski be our number 1 next year? And they're looking to get a backup in for Kinski. It's possible, but I'll be surprised if Vicario plays again. But look, you never know. De Zerbi said there he's still number 1. Doesn't really mean much if the player's not even training yet properly, especially with the first team. So let's see how that one goes. Kulusevski, what a sad situation. Fantastic player for Tottenham, but not played a minute for us it's been nearly a year. It has been a year, hasn't it, since he's set foot on the pitch and wore a Spurs shirt. So look, I hope for the player's sake he can play in the World Cup. I agree with De Zerbi. It would be a bit weird if you see him turning out for his national team, having not played in over a year for Tottenham. But we've seen things like this happen at the World Cup. We know he's a big player for his home nation. So let's see how that goes. But it would be a surprise to see Kulusevski playing at the World Cup. But I do hope he does, certainly. One player I do want to see out there for Spurs in these next remaining fixtures and even against Leeds would be James Maddison. I think he could bring something different. How we've missed James Maddison in his creativity. Would be great to see him back on the pitch. I don't think we should expect too much, but perhaps a cameo, a 10-15 minute cameo at the end of the game, especially if we need him to unlock a defence if we haven't found a breakthrough or we need a goal. Be great to see James Maddison on that pitch. Imagine him coming on and just whipping in a free kick or actually scoring from the free kick himself. Be an absolute fantastic return for Maddison. So let's see how that one goes. I think Maddison will only play if we need him. Failing that, I think he'll be on the bench, as De Zerbi said, for a bit of moral support. And finally, Alan Shearer saying that Spurs will survive. Well, those of you that have watched the channel will know Shearer is my all-time favourite player, and I absolutely love what Alan Shearer said here, that Spurs will survive. I'll take that, Al. Thank you very much. Look, if we beat Leeds on Monday evening, then the odds significantly go up in our favour, but Leeds will not be easy just because they're safe as well. Don't expect Leeds to roll over and have their belly tickled. It's not going to happen with a Leeds team. It's not going to happen with a Daniel Farke team, let's be honest. So we need to be professional. We need to get the job done against Leeds. As I say, it's going to be a difficult game, but can we do it? Yes, we can, and the rewards are there. 4 points clear with 2 games remaining. And if we can do that, if West Ham don't get anything other than a win at Newcastle, we're safe before we even go into the Chelsea game. So it's a huge game for Tottenham, this. We've got to be professional. We've got to get the job done against Leeds. Don't take our foot off the gas. Get a couple of goals up early and let's just win this game, Tottenham, please. And stop giving us all heart attacks before the end of the season. It can't go down to Everton. Please don't make it go down to Everton. That's going to be horrendous. So let's try and get the job done as soon as we can. That's all from me today. Get down in the comments, let me know your thoughts as a Tottenham Hotspur fan and anything to do with the stories right now that I've read out today. And as always, come on you Spurs.